Hey, Miss Golden. I see you, Miss Petty. So it is 6 o'clock. And it looks like we have maybe a couple of people who are still in the waiting room. So we'll give them about 2 minutes to go ahead and get connected, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I appreciate those of you who joined in on time. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a stickler for punctuality. So I appreciate you all being on time. So like I said, we'll get started in about 2 minutes. This community conversation is also being broadcasted on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So we have several options for people to join if they're not able to get on the Zoom, or if they chose not to get on the Zoom call. Okay, so it looks like everybody is pretty much joined. We don't have anyone in the waiting room. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for joining our virtual community conversation on tonight. Before I get started, I definitely want to recognize my school board members. Of course, we have our board president, Reverend Thomas, our vice president, Ms. Golden, and I see Ms. Golden is on the call, Ms. Melanie Townsend Blackman, secretary and board members, Ms. Evelyn Woods and Ms. Deborah Johnson. I always want to just acknowledge them for all the support and the energy that they put into being outstanding board members and doing what's best for our children. So thank you again to our board of trustees. Tonight's meeting is just to give updates on what's new in the district, what's happening since the last time that we met. And the topics of discussion on tonight are going to be technology updates. We're going to talk about the learning packs, student transition, attendance and assignments, as well as benchmarks. So I'll go ahead and jump right in. As you can see, highlighted in red for those of you who are viewing this on Zoom, our technology is on the way, literally. Our kindergarten through 5th grade Chromebooks have already arrived and they were disseminated on last week. But our 6th through 12th grade devices are en route right now, and they're expected to make it here late tonight. So the schools will be contacting you regarding dissemination when the 6 through 12 technology gets here. There are a few things that we need to do on our end to make sure that the technology is ready, and that'll take a couple of days. And we hope to have them out, if not by the end of this week, the beginning of next week. But they are literally on the way. We've seen the tracking, and so we expect to start getting them out, getting them ready on tomorrow. And then, of course, our hotspots are in the district, and they are available as well if needed. K through 5 parents, if you have not done so already, please go and pick up your devices. This is just mind-boggling to me and to the principals because, you know, we got so many calls on when is the technology going to get here? When are we going to get the computers? And now that they're all here, we don't have all of our parents coming to pick up the devices. We still have several parents who have not come to pick up their child's devices, and they are at the school. And so even if parents say that I don't have the $25 right now to pay for the insurance, you can still pick up your device. And as a matter of fact, you have until November 5th to pay the insurance on the technology. But if you decide that you don't want to pay the $25, you still can get the device for your child. Like I said, devices are available whether the insurance is paid or not, because we want all of our children to have access to the technology. 8th grade and Algebra 1 students will also be allowed the usage of a scientific calculator that we will provide from the district, and that will be disseminated with their device. Calculators must be returned in working condition at the end of the school year, and there is not an insurance fee on the calculators. That is included with the insurance of the device. Schools will inform parents of when 6th through 12th grade devices are ready for pickup. Please, parents, 6th through 12th grade parents, please go ahead and complete all the required waivers ahead of time so that when you get there, it can be a smooth transition, a smooth process. You just give them the paperwork, give them the $25. They'll give you the receipt in your child's device or devices. Learning packs. Learning packs served as a continued learning alternative for students who did not have access to technology. When we started with the learning packs, we got several complaints, several concerns of just about the, reliability and the effectiveness of the learning packs. So many parents did not want the learning packs, and understandably so, because with the learning packs, children do not have access to a teacher. But the learning packs really just served as continued learning until we were able to get our technology. Learning packets will be phased out once we get all of our technology, because once we get the technology, we no longer need to do learning packs. Now, we thought that everyone would be elated about that, but guess what? We have some parents who are saying we want to continue with the learning packs. Well, that is not going to be an option. October 30th, 2020 is the last day that learning packs will be passed out. November 6th is the last day that learning packs will be able to be turned in. Being that all students will have access to technology, learning packs will no longer be an academic alternative. Because now that we have technology, all of our children have access to have virtual face-to-face interactions with their teachers. So we no longer need the learning packs. The learning packs are the least effective means of academia for children, the least effective, because essentially they're study guides, but we had to do that because we did not have technology. Now that we have technology, we will no longer use learning packets. Okay? Students who were receiving learning packets will be transitioned into the virtual setting. Specific and user-friendly videos are on the district's website and social media pages to assist students who are coming from learning packs to virtual. So now that all children will have technology, they can just go to our website and it'll show them how to get on Zoom, how to get on Canvas, how to get on Clever, how do you know, what password they should use. All of that information is on our district website. Once students view the information and they still have questions about how to log on, they can just contact the schools. We have designated people at each site to help parents and students who are having trouble logging on. All of our students, even our kindergarten babies, have the capacity to log into virtual learning. How do I know? Because they're doing it every single day. Our and the process is just that simple. The kindergarten children can log on to Canvas without any assistance. If they are with an adult who is not technologically savvy, that should not interfere with students learning virtually. Children can get on these technological devices and log into classes. Now, some adults may not be able to, but I promise you, every one of our children can get into this virtual learning. If students can use TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, find Baby Shark videos on YouTube or Google, guess what? They can log in virtually. They can. It may seem like a big deal to us, but I promise you our children can do it. And if they have problems, all they have to do is call the school. The parents don't have to call, the children can call, and we can walk them through. We can pull up on our screen and see what they're seeing on theirs and walk them through the process. But the expectation is every child will now be a virtual learning. We will not have learning packs anymore. Okay? So now let's talk about the student transitioning. When are the kids going to come back to school? I hear that everywhere I go. If I go to get a Big Mac, a Whopper, wherever I go, Ms. Davis, when are y'all going to allow the children to come back to school? So we're going to see who said what. What we did a survey of our parents, and we also did a survey with our teachers. So let's see what they had to say. In regards to parents, 64% of the parents said that they want to remain 100% virtual. 64% said that they're not ready for their children to come back to school. And about 36% said that they are ready for their children to come back to school. So to break that down, about 6 out of 10 parents said, I'm not ready for my children to come to school. So in regards to the teachers, about 70% of teachers said they would prefer that the students remain virtual because they're not comfortable right now. So the majority of parents and the majority of teachers are saying, let's continue 100% virtually. So we took that into consideration. Then I talked to the experts, our nurses, and so I had them to pull all of the data. Now, for those of you who are viewing this on their screen, they can see that this trend line is going up, 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 up. So that means that the cases in Sunflower County are steadily rising. The cases are steadily rising. Now, this increase is with students being 100% virtual. So we're getting more cases with children still being somewhat contained in their houses. So what do you think happens to the numbers when we bring students back to the school every day? What do you think happens to the numbers? Do they increase or do they decrease? Well, Dr. Dobbs, who is the state epidemiologist, he's the lead expert in the state, said, when students are brought back to school, traditionally, the number of positive cases will absolutely increase. When students are brought back into the building, traditionally, the number of cases will absolutely increase. So we took all that into consideration. We took in consideration what the teachers had to say, what the parents had to say, what the nurses in our district had to say, as well as the state experts. So, and this is the determination that we made. Student, staff, and stakeholder safety is myself and the Board of Trustees. That is our number one priority. So based on the data and the lessons learned from surrounding districts, because as a district leadership team, we looked at all of the surrounding districts to determine what is it that they're doing in regards to bringing children back and what are their numbers looking like. And we saw some scary stuff. So based on all that information, students will remain 100% virtual during the second 9-week grading period. Students are tentatively scheduled to begin transitioning back on February 1st, 2020, utilizing a hybrid model. So that means during the second 9 weeks, we will be 100% virtual. Every child has access to a device. So every child will now be 100% virtual. We will not be bringing children back into the buildings as of now for the second 9 weeks. And so the question you may ask is, why? Why? And I'll answer that. The COVID numbers are continuing to rise in Sunflower County, and I just showed you that chart. They're continuing to rise every single day. Also, all students now have access to technology, so all students will have access to face-to-face instruction from a teacher. But more importantly, flu season is upon us, and I've talked to my nurses, and this is one of the concerns that they had. The symptoms are very similar, posing safety issues regarding students being sent to school thinking they have one set of symptoms when they may have another. If a child comes in with a cough or with a fever, we may say, well, they just have the flu, but they very well could have COVID. So we don't know. So in those situations, if a child shows any symptoms, we have to send that child home and possibly quarantine those who've been exposed to that child. Also, several indoor activities occurred during the second 9 weeks to include Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And all of these increase the risk of spread, which increases the risk of the virus being brought into the schools. Because Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of these are times when families get together, mine included, and they're all indoors. And indoor activities increases the risk of spread. So those are the rationale behind us making the decision to postpone bringing our children back for every day. So now I want to talk to you about attendance and assignments. Now that everyone will be 100% virtual, all students must log into each of their classes to be counted present. Now, one parent asked the question, ask Ms. Davis, does she care that our children may go blind because they're sitting in front of a computer screen from 8 to 3 all day, every day? If the children were sitting in front of a screen from 8 to 3 all day, every day, I would be extremely concerned. But that was one of the things that we worked out at the beginning with teachers and principals is every period they have a break between the first one and the next one. So there's about a 15-minute break where they can get off of the computer to rest their eyes. So children are not on the computer from 8 to 3. So I really do care about that, and that's one of the things we consider. But students must log into each of their classes to be counted present. Parents will be contacted by teachers or other school personnel to inform them of student absences the following day or the same day. Once all of the technology is disseminated, students will be counted absent if they do not log in, whether the parents accepted the technology or not. So for example, I'm Ms. Davis, I have a class of 20 children. I know all of my children who are on my schedule. If 3 of those children do not log in, once all the technology has been disseminated, they will be counted absent. So when the parent calls and says, well, I didn't accept the technology, that child still is counted absent. And multiple student absences will be turned in to the attendance officer. They must be turned in. We don't have a choice about that. So make sure that your children are logging into each of their classes. Mr. Murphy and I had a meeting with Judge Giles maybe 2 weeks ago about this topic right here, making sure that children are logged in, doing what they're supposed to do, and not outside doing other things, because they're going to be patrolling to make sure that children are where they're supposed to be, and outside during school time is not where they're supposed to be. The attendance officer will then contact the youth court. So let me just reiterate that. Students must log into each of their classes to be counted present. So they must go into Clever, then log into Canvas for each of their classes in order to be counted present. So if parents choose not to take the technology, their children will be counted absent because we have provided access to every single student in the district to technology, whether they choose to pay the $25 or not. In regards to assignments, students cannot and will not receive a grade for assignments they don't do. So if children don't turn in assignments, we can't give them a grade. Students who do not turn in assignments will receive a grade of a 0/I. Now that I stands for incomplete, but that I will turn into a 0 if the work is not done. Teachers or school personnel will reach out to the parents and students informing them of incomplete assignments or missed assignments. Late work will be accepted, but students will not be able to earn a grade higher than 70 unless agreed upon by the teacher and the administration due to a valid excuse. So if the child has a valid excuse, the teacher very well may say, okay, you can get a 100 or you can get higher than a 70. But in most instances, if children are just not turning in their assignments and turning them in a week or 2 weeks late, then it's not fair for them to get the same grade or an opportunity to get the same 100 as those children who did what they were asked to do and turned their work in on time. So if children do not do work, we cannot give them a grade. We can't give them a 50. We can't give them a 60. We have to give them a 0, but we're going to give them that I for incomplete, giving them time or giving them an opportunity to make up those missed assignments. Okay. Benchmarks. And we've been hearing a lot of chat about that because benchmarks actually start next week. So I hope I can clarify some things for you today. The Mississippi Department of Education, better known as MDE, has clearly stated that students will be required to take state assessments at the end of the 2020-21 school year, regardless of the academic option being utilized. So regardless if we do hybrid, virtual, traditional, whatever we decide to do, students will have to take the state test at the end of the year. That is not a Ms. Davis decision, a Ms. Golden decision, a Reverend Thomas decision, Ms. Townsend, Ms. Johnson, or Ms. Woods. That is a state decision from MDE. MDE has also stated that all students must report to the campus in order to take state assessment. That is not a Ms. Davis decision. That's not a Ms. Golden decision. That's not a Reverend Thomas, Ms. Woods, Ms. Johnson, Ms. Blackman decision. The State Department has said students must report to campus in order to take end-of-year assessment. So in an attempt to mirror the expectations set forth by MDE, we are requiring all students to report to campus in order to take their first 9-week benchmark assessment. The individual schools will contact you informing you of when your child should report. Now, students do not have the option of taking subject area benchmarks off campus. And when I say subject area, I mean ELA, math, U.S. history, biology 1, algebra 1. Children must come to campus to take those benchmark assessments. If students do not take the benchmark, they will get a grade of 0 because, as I just mentioned, we cannot give them a grade for an assignment that they do not complete. Students have until November the 16th to complete benchmarks. Non-subject area assessments may be taken virtually, and by non-subject area, I mean chemistry, PE, geometry, social studies, 4th grade social studies. Those types of assessments may be taken virtually. Transportation will be provided if needed. Students are not required to wear uniforms. They do not have to wear uniforms to take their benchmarks, but they must dress appropriately and they must wear masks. They will not be allowed in the building. They will not be allowed on the bus if they do not have masks. And if they need a mask, we will provide one to them, but they do not have the option of not wearing a mask. Students will test according to subject area or grade level. Now, some parents have been concerned because they think all the children are going to be at the school at one time. No. All students will not be at the school at the same time to allow for social distancing. We will just have like maybe all of the 6th graders, maybe all the 3rd graders, but all of the children will not be there at one time. That's why our window is 2 weeks, so we can have extra time so that we can spread our children out. All students will also be temperature checked before they get into the building or before they get on the bus. to make sure that we're not bringing children into the building that's sick. But they will have to have on a mask. And the thing about that is, we walk around people all the time who may have COVID that we don't know. The only thing we can do is protect ourselves. And by doing that, we make sure that we have on a mask, we stay 6 feet apart, and we wash our hands. And that's what we're going to require of our children. So what I have before you are just some pictures of what it will look like when children come to take their benchmarks. And I'm going to post this video on our website and on social media. But for those of you who can see, you'll see that they are in a large space in the gym, in the library, in the cafeteria. And then they're spread out, and every single desk has a screen around it to protect the children so that their air particles are not going from child to child. The district has purchased screens for every single student at every single school, as well as new desks. So these are just some sample screenshots of what testing will look like at the different schools. Here, I think you have Moorhead Central and you have Rouville Middle School. Last thing, East Sunflower, in the town of Sunflower, they are having free COVID testing on October 29th at the green space across from the Sunflower County Freedom Project. It is completely free from 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. So please, that's one of the ways we can help mitigate the spread, is if we know who's positive and who's not. So please take advantage of this free opportunity for testing in the town of Sunflower. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to, of course, SCCSD Media at sunflower.k12.ms.us. Reach out at SCCSD2 or on facebook.com/team SCCSD. And of course, you can always call us here at the central office at 662-887-4919. I thank you for your time tonight. If you have any questions or comments, like I said, we will post this Zoom video on our website and on our social media pages. And I just want to leave you with this, last but not least, please take advantage of your right to vote. Go out and vote next Tuesday if you haven't already early voted. I appreciate you all. I appreciate all of your support during these most difficult times. Thank you. God bless you all. And I hope you all have a great night. Thank you, Ms. Golden.